Our next speaker is Marylene Sawyer. I'm sorry, I don't get like the pronunciation well. But yeah, our next speaker is Marylene, and she's from South Africa. She's a computer science grad, and we'll be talking on building model applications in Ruby. So over to you, Marylene.
Thank you, Raphael. Hello, everybody. I'm excited to be here. I would like to talk about building web applications using Ruby and Ruby on Rails. This is a very interesting topic for me because I love Ruby and enjoy coding in Ruby. I actually only started about a year ago, actually about a half in the year ago, at Microvast. When I enrolled, I got an opportunity to learn Ruby, Ruby on Rails. It's part of the curriculum. But along the way, I actually fell in love with Ruby. I don't know if I'm able to upload my PDF presentation or if it's still being uploaded. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. So your presentation is already uploaded.
Okay, thank you. Yes, so basically what I'm going to talk about today is Ruby, the wonders of Ruby as a modern programming language. Its usage in the business world, and why Ruby is going to be with us, I think, for a long time in the future ahead. It's a great language to learn if you're looking for employment opportunities in the job market today. And if you want to learn Ruby, where and how to get started in your learning journey as a Ruby developer. I'll also talk about my experience at Microvast briefly. Okay.
You can, sorry. So just click the plus button to open your presentation.
Okay, yes, I've seen it. Thanks. Plus button. I see here slide one. Let me see. Sorry, I'm trying to look for the plus button. Is it? I see slide one. Is it the one you're referring to? Okay. I think the plus button here that I see is a zoom. Oh, okay, I think I've seen the plus button here. I've seen it. Thank you. Yes, okay. I hope everyone can see.
Zoom out.
Okay. Zoom out. Is it this one? Something else. Okay, I think. Sorry, just a moment, please, while I set up a fit to width. Let me see. I think I now have to reduce the zoom in, zoom out, probably this one. Sorry, let me see how to fix this. So, okay, no, that's hide. Okay,
sorry, I might have uploaded the wrong presentation. But you could also try screen share if that's easier for you.
Okay, okay, I can screen share as well. Yes. Screen share, I think, is it this one? Share screen. Okay. Entire screen. share. Just a moment, please. Okay, can you see my screen? Okay, I hope you can see my screen. Hopefully we are set up now. Okay. So yes, I was talking about Ruby and why Ruby is a great language to program in and build your web applications in. It's fast, efficient, versatile, and cost-effective, and we'll look at why that is true shortly. So we'll be basically looking at the advantages of learning Ruby, especially if you're looking for work in the job market, why Ruby and Ruby on Rails are very competitive, why Ruby on Rails is a very competitive tech stack if you're a software developer, and where and how to get started on your learning journey as a Ruby developer. We'll delve more into that shortly. First of all, I'll start with a brief look at what Ruby is, its history, and a few details about the language. Okay, so if you're like me, you will enjoy finding information from sites like Wikipedia. If you want to know of about an academic topic, Wikipedia is very useful. It's a useful site to go to. So I got this information from Wikipedia, basically, which I found helpful. Ruby is an interpreted high-level general-purpose programming language. This is very similar to what Caleb was talking about previously.
We can't hear you.
Okay, sorry. Sorry, let me see if I'm on mute. You can't hear me. Okay, let me try and increase my volume. Can you hear me now?
Marylene, yes, we can hear you very well.
Okay, now you can hear me. Okay.
Yes.
So I'll carry on. Yes, so Ruby is very similar to Python. Just as Caleb mentioned, it's high level, which makes it easier to learn than other languages such as C and C++. So Ruby is really, a simple language to get started with. As a result, it was designed and developed in the mid-90s by Yukihiro Matsumoto in Japan. Sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly. Yes, it's dynamically typed as opposed to being statically typed. Actually, I think Python is statically typed. Correct me if I'm wrong. So as a result, with Ruby, you have to be careful that you don't pass in the wrong types. I know JavaScript is also dynamically typed, and so you can make mistakes along the way if you pass incorrect types. And it also has or uses garbage collection and just-in-time compilation. It supports multiple programming paradigms, including procedural, object-oriented, and functional programming. So as you can see, Ruby is a very sophisticated language, even though it's actually simple to understand. It's actually a whole package. It's a proper programming language that is well designed and sophisticated. Over, it's easy to learn in comparative to other more verbose languages like C and C++. They go on to say that according to the creator, Ruby was influenced by Perl, Smalltalk, A4, Adar, Basic, and Lisp. Some of these are functional programming languages, as you can see. Perl is also another language that was invented earlier on and is useful for text processing. So Ruby is like Python, but much more than that. I think the creator of Ruby was not satisfied with languages like Python, so he went on to create a language for himself. How cool is that? So Ruby is actually a super language, in my opinion, at least. I'm convinced. I don't know what you think. Would be interesting to get your thoughts. Yes, so let's go on to the next slide. Ruby on Rails. Ruby on Rails is something that actually complements Ruby and makes it easier to be pragmatic with the Ruby programming language. It's Ruby on Rails is a framework that's used to build website applications using Ruby. It uses a domain-specific language, an internal domain-specific language to make it easy to set up websites. Ruby on Rails is also full stack, as opposed to other frameworks like Node.js. Ruby on Rails is full stack, so when you use it, you have both your back end and front end set up almost instantly for you. So that's also an added bonus for wanting to learn Ruby on Rails. Two particular pros of Ruby on Rails over other frameworks. These are actually things that I did some research on. There's what they call convention over configuration. It's a phrase used to refer to how quickly it is to get started using a software package or framework. Normally, I think with other frameworks like PHP frameworks, you have to spend quite a bit of time and effort setting up, making sure your application is rightly configured. Whereas with Ruby on Rails, your parameters are already set up by default, and you can always go back and change them if you have to, but everything is pretty much set up for you, so you can get started quickly, and that makes it easier for beginners to get started. There's also what they call don't repeat yourself rule, and I think that's where the principle of object-oriented programming comes in. Ruby was actually designed with the principle of object-oriented programming in mind. So it's a perfect language to use if you want to apply object-oriented programming, because those concepts are deeply embedded in a language. There's little duplication, everything is efficient. The code is light. It's a good language if you actually love languages. It's very intuitive. The syntax is easy to read and understand, and that's what makes Ruby much nicer to deal with in other languages like Java, which are much more verbose. As you can see, Ruby is a proper programming language, but it's just more intuitive and easier to learn and read. And if you just want to get started with your programming journey, it's a great starting place. Learning Ruby, yes. So there is a high incentive for learning Ruby. It's in great demand by both small businesses and leading businesses like Shopify, GitHub, and Fiverr. Any aspiring developer who doesn't learn Ruby is arguably missing out. That's my opinion, but I think I'm right. I don't know what you think. Where and how to get started with learning Ruby. Well, you have to start with where you're at, with whatever you have, regardless of your background. If you've got a good code editor or IDE like Visual Studio, you're ready to go. First, you need to install Ruby on your machine, and then you can start coding. It's as simple as that. And in terms of resources, there is so much resources out there to learn Ruby and Ruby on Rails. I found the information on Code Academy very helpful when I was learning Ruby. They've got like a whole well-structured tutorial on learning Ruby. I actually used it myself. I've also had friends mention the Ruby on Rails tutorial by Marco Hator. That's also a very popular one for learning Ruby on Rails. The support for Ruby is wide and available online. There's lots of forums where you can find information and ask questions like Stack Overflow, for instance. Whenever you Google, you'll always find your answers on Stack Overflow for almost anything. Yes, and about Microverse, as I mentioned previously, I actually got the opportunity to learn Ruby on Rails while enrolled at Microverse, which is a remote school for developers. It's like a one-year program where you meet up and collaborate, do pair programming with other developers across the world. Yes, and you actually build real multi-projects together, projects that are similar to real world projects. So it's a very practical way of learning. It's easier to learn when you've got others to learn with. So that's why this community, the Nairobi communities, is very important, because as developers we can meet and share information and ask questions and support each other. Okay, so in summary, what we looked at is what Ruby is, a brief history of a language, why it was created, the pros of Ruby over other programming languages, how to learn Ruby and Ruby on Rails. Also spoke briefly about Microverse as a learning and collaborative space for learning Ruby on Rails, as well as web development in general. Yes, once again, I'd like to mention again that it's much easier to learn in a community, whether it's an online or in-person community. learning happens best in community. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the chat. Also, you can visit my portfolio website and GitHub profile in order to connect. Thank you very much.